everyone! I am Mecha 42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and we're talking about the Orville today. I'm so excited. So if you guys want to check out my entire live stream from last night, my live... Thank you for being a brand new subscriber, Leg Girl, and Tano. Thank you for being a brand new subscriber. Also, this is what happens every time I make a video. I always forget to turn off notifications. But you guys benefit because you guys get to see yourself in my videos. So thank you for being a new subscriber. But if you guys do want to see my full live reaction right after the episode aired last night, I will link that in the description below. I know not everybody wants to sit through an hour and a half sort of just butt kissing of a franchise, and you know, but I really enjoyed it. But if you do want to watch the whole thing, I'll link it in the description. I'll give you kind of the condensed version. So what did I think? I thought it was really fun to have the Orville back. You know, Star Trek is dead. Long live the Orville. I'm so excited. At least we have something good. You know, at least there's something Star Trek-y out there for people like me who love Star Trek. And you know, when your mainstream franchises are not doing it for you as a viewer, it's good to know that at least Seth MacFarlane's out there making quality, good Star Trek, you know, and it is Star Trek. For all intents and purposes, it is Star Trek. Absolutely, 1000%, it is Star Trek, in my opinion. And I absolutely love it, and I know you guys love it too. So the score I would give this episode is probably about a 7 out of 10. Now hear me out. Okay. As somebody who criticizes stuff, I do have to be critical. I have to find stuff to nitpick. So my nitpick with this episode is that there's so many side stories going on. It feels like there's about 5 or 6 side plots. So you have your Bortus story going on. You have the Ed and Kelly stuff. You have Alara and Dan stuff. And then you have the Scott Grimes' character who I can never remember, and Jay Lee's character who I can never remember. You have those guys. You have their character stuff going on. Oh, you also have Claire and her family. So she has her little side plot going on too. Now, I guess most of the side plots all kind of relate to Bortus's story. So, but without getting into any spoilers yet, I will kind of go a little more full spoiler later in the video here. I really liked it. It was a great chance to give a lot of character development. We know who these people are, and that's one of my biggest complaints with Discovery. We don't know the other people on the ship. And this one, we get to know, like, side crew members, like Dan, you know, played by Mike Henry from Cleveland Show, if you guys remember, voice of Cleveland Brown, and, you know, behind-the-scenes guy on Family Guy, all that good stuff. So yeah, I really enjoy that we get to know our crew. We get to know more their ins and outs of their daily lives. We get to know a little bit more about some of their hopes and their dreams and their aspirations. It's all romance based. I mean, this episode, last night we were talking about it on Midnight's Edge After Dark, and yeah, Tom brought up, it does kind of feel like it should have been a Valentine's episode. It's definitely, it feels like a filler episode. And here's why this is a good thing, though. When you're coming in to season 2 of a show and you might not have seen season 1 and you just happen to be watching it after Sports Ball or whatever, you might not know these characters, it's a good chance to kind of get to know these characters. Okay, so the Doctor and the android kind of have this almost co-parenting sort of friendship with her children. She's a single mother. She struggles. So we know her character. She's the Doctor. She's a tough cookie. You know, we get to know the security chief a little bit with Alara. We get to know a little bit more about Ed and Kelly's relationship. We get to know, you know, we get to know a lot of the inner workings of the crew. And I really, really love that about this episode. This is why filler episodes are so important sometimes. And a lot of people have been pointing out, yes, it feels like a bottle episode, and it does. And if you don't know what that term is, it's basically an episode that they film all on existing sets without having to bring in any new set pieces, any new real actors, any new like construction, any new planet sort of settings. So when we get into the spoiler section, there is one little planet setting, so it looks like it's just a location shot. Man, I highly recommend this. Go watch The Orville. It is so good. If you love Star Trek The Next Generation, even like the good seasons of Voyager, you will like this show. It is so good. Yes, there's humor. There is humor, but it kind of stays, you know, you have your alien sort of, Bortus is the classic alien straight man. He's hilarious. I absolutely love him. Scott Grimes' character, Gordon Malloy, absolutely perfect as the comic relief, as the funny one, you know. And then of course you have Isaac, another really good straight man, perfect in a different way. He's a robot. He's very similar on the same note as Bortus. Now, there's so many good character moments in this episode. There's so many quotable lines in this episode. Last night during our live stream, we just kept quoting this episode. And that kind of falls on some of my basic rules of movies and storytelling in general. If you're a movie or a TV show that needs to quote all these other TV shows, then you're not very good. You know, good shows are quotable, bad shows quote other shows. There's one exception to that rule. It's Stargate SG-1. They quote The Wizard of Oz constantly, and that's okay because they only quote The Wizard of Oz and The Simpsons. But, you know, it's fine because that show makes sense and the show itself is very quotable. So you know, and I use that kind of rule for stuff like Ghostbusters 2016 where they're just quoting, you know, Say Hello to My Little Friend and all these other movies that are just cringe level of quoting other movies. And that's what I love about this. You know, the Orville has so many quotes, even from last season. Happy Arbor Day. This episode, there's a great one. You know, Claire asks Isaac, am I a bad parent? Yes. You know, there's just so many good quotable lines. What were your favorite quotes from last night's episode if you watched it? Tell me in the comment section, because I love the show. I'm so stoked. Now, into a little bit of spoilers. We're not going to give away the entire thing, just a little bit of it. So, you've been warned. Turn off the video now if you haven't seen the episode. Go watch the episode. It's up on Hulu right now, so go watch it. And I think you can just watch it on Fox's app, too. Right. Now, let me find where I loaded up the thing. There we go. Boop. So, like I said, it is a Bortus episode. And, basically, in the first season, in the first episode of the first season, in the trailers, we established that the Moclans pee once a year. They urinate once a year. That's what Bortus says. He's a Moclan. So he's kind of like the Orville's Klingons. Now he has to go and ask permission to go home. It's a huge ritual. They go home once a year it's the Great Release. You know, it is not a dirty thing. It is more of a celebratory. It's like a New Year's celebration or a birthday or something. And of course you have all your closest friends and family there and they watch you cleanse yourself. And it's so interesting to me how they can take something that is basically toilet humor. It is flat out toilet humor, and they can make it something really interesting that, yeah, maybe an alien species would do this because this is a natural function. This is natural human biology, you know? People have all kinds of weird mating rituals. People have eating rituals and ceremonies. Why not that as well? It's interesting that you know, it's also really cool that the only person who really made a lot of pee jokes was Gordon, because you're letting him be the funny man. You're letting everybody else be kind of the in-charge, competent officers, and he's the one who's allowed to kind of be the jokester and the funny one, the class clown. I love it when they do that. You can't have too many, and I love bringing in Ghostbusters 2016 again. They had everybody was the funny one. There were no straight men. You need that sort of comedy dynamic, and we have that in the Orville, and I love that. You know, not everybody's the funny one. Not everybody, and some people do have funny lines that even though they're not the funny ones. Captain Mercer, funny moments in this. So that's the main plot of the story is seeing Bortus home to his home planet to go to the bathroom for this one time a year. There's also another plot in this. They get a new officer, a new I think she's like a dark matter specialist or a navigation. I can't remember off the top of my head what her specialty is, but she wants access to the nav computer and she wants to familiarize herself with everything. So that's kind of the side plot, is basically Gordon trying to get with her, and then they might be setting up Ed and her as a romance later. This whole episode, like I said, it felt like a Valentine's Day episode because it's a lot of people trying to find dates for this event, you know. So we have Bortus basically sets up Alara with Dan from the elevator, you know, Dan from the elevator who basically had a reoccurring gag last season where he's just constantly in the elevator with Ed and Kelly while they're fighting, and it's kind of hilarious. And I love that they're bringing him back and they're kind of making him so interesting and weird and creepy, and he's such a rich character. And I love that about the show is that we have side characters. We have people who aren't our main cast who are so awesome and interesting. So we have him being set up on a date with Alara, and they're so not a match. It's not even funny. And actually, it is really funny. It is really funny. I shouldn't say it's not even funny. They're really not a match, but it's great how Bortus doesn't really quite understand how to interact with Alara in this episode. You know, she has trouble dating. He interprets that as trouble mating. He's like, oh, well, this person's fertile. They'll give you many children. And that's not what she's looking for at all. She's looking for, like, romance and you know, a partner. And she's not looking to, like, just crank out children right away. And then there's also a lot of really great Ed Kelly moments. Ed and Kelly, like, Ed still has feelings for Kelly. He wants to invite her to this event where Bortus pees, and I can't believe I'm saying this on a video. It's so great though. It's done so well. And of course Ed still has feelings for Kelly, but she's kind of moved on and she's dating the teacher, and that's kind of how we weave Claire's story into like the main story. Because Claire, on the other hand, is dealing with her kid and some other little bratty kids on the ship. So she's got a lot of really strong kind of parenting sitcom moments almost. You know, there's even a point where the boys like sneak drinks. Yeah, it's really great. So, and I mentioned earlier, we have Isaac stepping up as kind of the parental role as sort of to co-parent Claire's kids, which is such a great callback. That's continuity. That's how you do it. You do continuity this way. It is a callback to the previous season where they've kind of established that yes, Claire's a single parent, but Isaac kind of likes to hang around her and follow her family and observe, and he's curious. He's a robot. He's from another planet, and his job is to observe humans. And he ends up basically being a co-parent to these boys of Claire's. And I love that they're bringing that back. It's a callback. I love it so much. The other major plot points, you know, is Gordon hitting on the new nav officer. I know I'm missing a few. Long story short, go watch this episode. It's very fun. It's not gonna blow you out of the water, but it is Star Trek, and it's really great character stuff. I watched this actually live on TV with my mom last night. She's never seen the Orville, but she has seen a lot of Star Trek. She could follow it just fine. You know, all I had to do is say, okay, these two are married, and you know, that's a robot. This guy only pees once a year. You really don't need to set up a whole lot if people are coming in on season 2, and I really like that they did that. They gave us character moments. They gave us a reintroduction to all of our characters. And yeah, it does kind of feel like a Valentine's episode a little bit, but I'm okay with that because I think a lot of new people coming into this are going to want to know who these characters are, and that's how you do it. You know, and Star Trek Discovery is so impersonable with its characters. We don't know anything about half the characters on that ship, and every time we learn something, we hate them more. For Discovery, with the Orville, I'm like, please tell me more. You know, there's a great Gordon moment where he's just talking to I can't remember his name. Jay Lee plays him, and God, I'm so terrible with names on the show. They're talking, and he's like, yeah, I dated my stalker once, and she ended up dumping me. That is such an awesome, like, little bit of information about Gordon. I love knowing about these characters. I love finding out what makes them tick, how they interact. Oh, I guess the only other thing I can say about this episode is we have probably one of the best cameos, and I don't know if it's going to be a reoccurring thing. I hope so. Please, if you guys are out there listening from the Orville, please let this be a reoccurring role. Jason Alexander as the bartender. Oh my God, he's Duckman as the bartender. You know, he's giving advice. He's Guinan. He plays an alien. It's so awesome. Just watch this. Pay attention to the bartender. He's great. So yeah, my final score is 7 out of 10. I hate giving it a 7 out of 10 because I liked it so much, but from a critical standpoint, yeah, that's probably, you know, that's still better than that's still better than the best episode of Discovery. And, you know, and I hate giving it just such a low score, but, you know, there are nitpicks. There was a little too much on screen, and, you know, I might bump it up. A little bit, maybe 7.5 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. Go watch the Orville. I can only imagine it getting better in season 2. So are you guys watching the Orville? Do you enjoy it? Let me know in the comment section below. I am Mecha Random 42, your favorite YouTube harpy, and I will see you guys on the next video or live stream. Bye!